There's no age limit for filling in these forms. There is a box for under 16s to tick. So get the kids filling them in. I don't even mind if people are in favour of HS2. Please fill in a response form and say it if you believe that. We hope to persuade you otherwise, but fill in a form. We've got tea, coffee, biscuits for serving during you filling in the forms, so please take advantage of that. Finally, we're grateful again for the continued support of our MP. Due to his persistence, the group have met with 2 ministers at Westminster, so please give him a Newton welcome. Dennis Skinner.
And so when I first came up against the HS2 in Parliament, I didn't know Tony very well. I knew of him. I didn't even know the meetings were taking place here. But what did I do? I voted against the HS2. Why? Because of me instinct. I thought at that time they said it would have cost £30 billion. Now it's 57 billion, or nearly enough. And so I thought, £30 billion, and they're not going to start for another 20 years. Who the hell do you think they're kidding? I'll be dead then. Well, I might not. I'm doing all right. But I thought, £30 billion, if I'd got £30 billion to spend and I was in government, I'd want to spend it on the National Health Service and social care. Yes. I'd want to spend it on the schools. I'd want to spend it in local government where it's needed. I can think of 1,000 things before I was concerned about getting to London 30 minutes quicker. That's what it's all about, you know. I mean, they've actually got a little map in which they say on the BBC, they say that if you live in such and such a place, you can get to London 40 minutes quicker. And if you're from Sheffield, it's 30 minutes quicker. I mean, what are we talking about? I work in London Monday to Friday. I'm not so sure there's many people in this room want to get to London 30 minutes quicker for 30 billion quid, as it was then. Now 56 billion. They've just sacked somebody, his name is Terry Morgan. He sounds like a footballer to me. But he'd only had a job a month. I mean, it is a funny setup, you know, this HS2. When you think about it, Higgins, the man called Higgins was there for quite a while. In comes Terry Morgan, who had been pottering about with Crossrail down in the south. And then they say, well, he'd be a decent bloke to run HS2. He's lasted about a month. God knows what they're paying him. Wow. He'll not be going away without some golden handshake. That's right. That's what happens in their realm of society. They've not said that on the BBC yet. They've not really told you why he's gone. But it's a funny business when you've only worked for a month.
Regarding Terry Morgan,
Sir T, yeah.
Reckons he's going to get sacked.
Yeah.
Is that any surprise to you? Or?
Well, it certainly wasn't expected. He's been towing the party line as far as I can make out. So it came as a surprise. The guy's been working for him for 16 weeks. How can he actually have done anything on HS2 except look at the basis of it, talk to people involved, contractors, councils, businessmen? I suspect he's gone back to London and said, I don't think we can do it for the money.
What do you think his move was regarding, saying this to Radio 4 without the government knowing? I mean, what do you think, why he did that approach?
I really don't know. At the end of the day, there seems to be a lot of funny things happening in government at this particular time, whether it's Brexit or HS2. I mean, I heard about this last night on news at the end of the day, and find it like Tony extremely, well, it shocked me really, because he's only been there for that short period of time and it all. Maybe he realises it is a poison chalice and he perhaps don't want to be associated with it. Who knows the reasoning behind it all, but I think the bottom line is, I think for Tony's cause and for the group to try and stop the spare and the HS2 generally, I think it's another good marker in the sand that we're getting somewhere, and perhaps keeping that momentum going in it, because government don't seem to know where they're going with it either at this stage.
No.
I think people should be up in arms against this. All over the place. People that are not affected by it ought to realise that just with fracking, because fracking, doesn't cover the whole area of Britain. But I'll tell you now, the majority of the people in Britain are against it. And that's why people like Tony and others have been spreading the message locally to try and engender support all over the place. Because this is not just a Newton Blackwell problem, this is a problem that's being created by the system that they operate. When I asked a question to tedious Theresa May the other month, well, several months ago now, it was about this, and the fact that I discovered in one of the papers I'd been reading that they'd actually got a lot of tunnels down in the south of the HS1. And about 120 to 140 miles, I mean, they'd not knocked any houses down hardly, because they'd created tunnels. And yet in the north, apparently they don't care much about us, even though they shout and bawl about the northern powerhouse. If they really did care about the north, we'd have tunnels here as well, wouldn't we? And why isn't it happening? Because they don't care about us, and they think they can get away with it, and because there are not many MPs affected, and so they think it's not their business. Well, it is.
That's right. I
vote against everything in Parliament, day after day, whether it affects Bolsover, Newton, Shirebrook, anywhere. I walk through a lobby and I form an opinion, and if I'm doubtful, it's bloody no. And that's what you should do. That's what you're sent to Parliament for. You're not sent there just purely about your own area. It's about the principle. And if you can say no to fracking, as I do, even though it may not affect me and it may be creating earthquakes in Lancashire and all over the place, the fact is I have an opinion about it. And that's why I'd like to see more MPs realise that if they're knocking houses down in the north of Britain, and yet they have tunnels in the south, it's not fair.
That's right.
And that's why when Tony told you it had been on 2 visits with his colleagues, most of them here today, I organised those meetings to meet the minister because I realised there was a lot of value in what they told me. And I wanted them to say it to the minister, and I have to tell you, I took a lot of deputations down to Parliament in my time, but this has been one of the finest representations of argument that's been put by Tony and his friends on both occasions since I've been a member, and I've been there for 48 years. That's how good they made their case. So it's not just me. It's an army of people in this area who have dedicated themselves to fighting for you and your neighbours and anybody else. £80 billion is suddenly turned into £57 billion. How much do you think it's going to cost by the time they do it?
100 plus.
100 billion.
stones at the end of the season.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about. By the time you get round to it, that's what it is. Now, you know, we have to say no to things like that. And we say no specifically in this area because they're going to knock a lot of houses down that they don't need to knock down. They could spend a lot more money on the tunnels as they have done in the south. So I'm not going to shift. As long as I've got breath in my body, I'm going to fight alongside Tony and his friends in this campaign until I draw my last breath, because it stinks to high heaven.